What needs to happen as far as Dominic Raab is concerned in the interim?
Well, he should be suspended from his job. I think viewers will be shocked that with these hugely serious allegations, up to 24 allegations, we're told, of bullying, and he's still serving. At the very least, he should be suspended pending this inquiry. And there is a question mark over Rishi Sunak himself. You know, 100 days into his job, he had a very bad appointment of Suella Braverman, who had broken the ministerial code, and he put her back in office. We know now about Nadeem Zahawi. He apparently had been told about the tax problem for the former now chairman of the Conservative Party, and now he's not suspending his Deputy Prime Minister with these serious allegations. I think the question marks are now not just about Dominic Raab, but about the Prime Minister. But
we heard from Downing Street this morning, actually. They say principle dictates that ministers carry on with their duties while any investigation is ongoing.
Well, I have to say, it wouldn't happen in a normal job, would it? If you were a civil servant, if you were a journalist, if you were in so many walks of life, if the level of these allegations, very serious allegations made, you would be given gardening leave. You wouldn't be at your desk. And, you know, they are of that gravity that I really think the Prime Minister should suspend Dominic Raab.
Jacob Rees-Mogg says, beware of snowflakery.
Well, that's a classic Jacob Rees-Mogg comment, completely out of touch with reality. I mean, that's the problem with this government. I don't think they understand real people's lives, whether it's the cost of living, what's happening in the NHS, and how you should behave to your employees. Jacob Rees-Mogg typifies the Rishi Sunak government, that they're not in touch with reality.
Yeah, but there's a lot of pressure at the top of government, isn't there? You know, people like Dominic Raab having to make critical decisions in the moment. He needs to be able to express himself to his close team.
I was a cabinet minister and I served under real pressure. You should treat everybody with respect. And frankly, the best way to get the best out of your civil servants isn't to bully them, but to thank them. And I found that was the best way. Treat people with respect, and you can work as a team and you can get best results. If you shout and scream at people, surprisingly enough, you won't get the best out of them.
But you're innocent until proven guilty as well, aren't you? He's the Justice Secretary, and you know nothing has been found against him at this stage.
No, I'm more than willing to wait till the KC has been in charge of this review reports to make the judgment.
But I still the King's Counsel, a lawyer.
The King's Counsel. I beg your pardon. But I do think, in the meantime, he should be suspended because the allegations are so serious. And it goes to the weakness of the Prime Minister. You know, he's not prepared to take the action when faced with the facts. And you know, one of the things we'd like to see is the independent minister advisor on ethical standards look into what the Prime Minister knew and when with respect to these allegations of bullying against Dominic Raab. Did he appoint Dominic Raab knowing these serious allegations were there?
Talk to me about the social care announcement. Many of our viewers this morning will have seen you appearing in our Jason Farrell's report. £200 million being offered to put this plan into effect. Is that enough money?
It's nowhere near enough. I mean, I welcome that there's some movement at long last, but independent analysis has shown we need £2 billion over the next 4 years to start putting some of this scandal right. I mean, there are children out there, people who've in care homes, children who are not being looked after properly, and that should be a scandal in our society. These young people are some of the most vulnerable in our society. Their whole lives will be blighted if they're not treated properly as a child and a young person. And one thing that Liberal Democrats want to do is not just about money, it's about the system. And I've been a strong advocate of supporting kinship carers, and my Liberal Democrat colleague Manira Wilson has put forward a set of proposals, a proposed law that would give kinship carers, grandparents, uncles, aunts, brothers and sisters, close relatives to the young person when the parent can't take care, give them more rights and more support. That must be the way forward, where you're supporting the family. And the fact the government doesn't seem to get that is quite shocking.
And we have a kinship carer actually on the programme later on to talk to us in more detail about this. Now, Boris Johnson, never far from controversy, as we know, said yesterday that anyone who suspects he covered up lockdown parties while PM is out of their mind. Are you out of your mind?
I think it's more likely Boris Johnson out his mind. He's in total denial, isn't he? You know, the thing about Boris Johnson, right, the reason why I think he behaved so shockingly with those parties in Number 10, allegations of sex in the basement during his time there, you know, I think
Not him, we have to...
not him, but, you know, he was... In Number 10, it's his building, and he allowed these parties, this behaviour to go on during lockdown when everyone else was abiding by the rules. The fact that he says that shows that he just deceives himself just as much as he deceives the rest of the world.
The National Audit Office examining the decision to spend £220,000 of taxpayers' money for the Prime Minister's legal defence bill. If it's proven that some of the delay in him this coming to the fore was as a result of Mr Johnson's actions, should he be expected to pay some of that money back?
Well, I think he really needs to be held to account better than's happened so far. You know, I personally think he was unfit for office from day one. I was shocked that the Conservative Party put him into power, and the way he then treated so many people and lied to so many people and made such a hash of being Prime Minister is actually a stain on the Conservative Party. And although he's now been thrown out, not before time, I think he needs to be fully held to account. And all these various investigations that there are now into what happened need to conclude. And whatever the recommendations they come forward with, I think they should be implemented.